and especially to our flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Of course, I mean, any meaning Ghanaian, any well-meaning Ghanaian, I believe, was shocked today with the kind of revelations that were coming up today. It is mind-boggling. I couldn't believe it anyway. I couldn't believe what I saw on the proceedings today. I mean, clearly, Dr. Afari-Gyan was very evasive with the truth. I mean, for the purposes of contempt of courts, I'm being careful here. He's been very, very economical with the truth. Very, very evasive. Initially, I mean, his posture, his demeanor clearly tells you that this guy is up to something. But because the petitioners are well prepared and they have documents to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that indeed it is worth going to court, the guy finally gave in to certain admissions he made. I wasn't surprised that the issue of registration, the register came up. I wasn't surprised because from the beginning, the petitioners raised very intriguing questions about the register. We are told it came in badges. And the explanation that was given, I mean, is neither here nor there.
And the explanation that was given is neither here nor there. This is just to whet your appetite. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, the discussion continues. Welcome back. I've been joined by another guest, the late Sakasalia, and I'm saying the late in terms not because of the fact that he's passed away, no, but because he was a little bit late. Saka, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Now let's go straight into the event as they happened today. First of all, there was this furore about when particular items, I mean pink sheets and lists, were received by the Electoral Commission among others. Saka, do you believe that it was an important point or was much ado about nothing?
Yeah, thank you very much, Nana. I think that the proceedings today is an eye opener because some of us from the very beginning knew very well that we had a case, and then every attempt to let Afari-Gyan actually let Ghanaian people know the truth has been, to some extent, he has been either circuitous or evasive. At a point, you could see that because some of the questions that were posed to him, I mean, anybody who wanted or who has a feral instinct for the truth would have just given the answer. Because you are the arbiter. In this case, let me say that when it comes to elections, the Electoral Commission is supposed to be
the final authority.
The final authority. It's supposed to be somebody who does not, take sides. So you try to answer the questions as dispassionate as possible. But you could see from the demeanor, the posture of Afari-Gyan that he himself has something to hide. And that accounted for some of the answers that he gives. Because any a person would have expected that. Date for the registration, the final register and all those things are very important. But this is a situation where a question was asked, where the date for which this man tried to evade almost everything.
Okay.
And
so you think that the initial furore about we didn't receive the list as was supposed to be received by us was much ado about nothing?
No, completely. I mean, you describe it in the apt ways. Because completely much ado about nothing. Because if you have you actually have a case. If you have any seriousness as to unraveling the truth or otherwise, what you do is that you try to give genuine answers.
Okay.
But to go that direction, I just tells you that it was much ado about nothing.
Okay. Now, Baba, you were already telling us about the demeanor, among others, of Dr. Kojo Afari-Gyan. Now, let's look at the demeanor of himself and his counsel as well. Oh, my lord, they did not bring the thing to us on time, and then after a lot of back and forth, they go, Okay, fine, but we finally received it. Really, what impression do you think it's sending? Is it sending the impression that the Electoral Commission was fair, it was free and fair in this election, or it sounds as though it has something to hide?
I mean, clearly, there is this saying that you can be a good lawyer, but if you don't have a good case, this is what would happen. You see what his counsel was doing, okay? He gets up, he objects to issues that is not even discussed, okay? I mean, they are bent on defending the defenseless, okay? Clearly, there is something the Electoral Commission is hiding. There is something this man is hiding.
Or at least he's seeking to hide.
But he will not succeed. Because believe me, the petitioners are well prepared, they know what they are doing, and they will prove beyond all reasonable doubt that indeed there is something wrong with the EC. There were straightforward questions that were asked. Can you imagine a whole electoral commissioner who says he has a lot of experience? He's giving consultations to other foreign countries and what have you. He's mentioned his profile a whole lot. He doesn't know what PDF is.
We'll come to that.
I mean, it's surprising. It is really, really surprising. And believe me, Ghanaians are dissenting. Ghanaians are dissenting and they know the truth. They cannot run away from the truth. It is obvious that there is something they are hiding. And tomorrow,
I believe that more will follow.
It's just by the corner. What happened today is the beginning of what to come.
Okay. Saka, now let's deal with the point of this same polling station code appearing on so many others. The initial defense that Dr. Kojo Afarajan had put up was that, it's meant for, special voting in certain areas, among others. Today, we got him to admit that in some areas, that is not necessarily the truth. And then more disturbingly was the point that all of those things were included in the declaration of the results.
Yeah, you see, I had a debate with some NDC people, and what they say is that, if the register was even bloated, did they vote? And I'm saying that, look, the reason why some of these things happened was that, for instance, the overseas bloated voting, the 241,000, was that they put it there to create space so that this type of things, when they do it, will be able to accommodate it. Because, for instance, we all know that we've gone into biometric registration, and by biometric registration, it means that everybody biodata has been taken. And for that matter, it prevents duplications, multiplication, and all those things. That is what we've been made to believe.
And that is why we spend a lot of money.
Yes, we spend money, and then the EC has overspent its budget close to over 200% or so, and all that. All because we wanted to make sure that we have a clean register. We wanted to make sure that the results at the end of the day will stand the test of time. But here is a case where some duplicates have been found almost everywhere, invariably, where so many irregularities occurring. And Afarajan himself, despite his evasive nature, has not been able to actually evade some of these things. It was put to him, even the overseas, this is not what actually happened today, but even the overseas register that they themselves brought, you could see a lot of duplications. That tells you that the integrity of the register cannot stand, because it tells you that they said that at the end of the day they were going to do what we call the duplications and all those things. Even after the duplication, you could see what happened, and all these duplications and what have you actually fall in the stronghold of the NDC, and it cannot be by accident. It cannot be by just accident. This was a well calculated plan put up by the EC and its cohorts, including, those who benefited from the election, to actually make sure that they rigged this election, and that is where we are today. I think that, you see, if you look at Afarajan, I've talked from the beginning about his demeanor and all that. In the past, everybody thought that he was a master of order, his service. He was the one that everybody thought was par excellence when it comes to election and all that. But events prove. I mean, that is why this Nigerian saying that kola nut does not taste as good as it sounds in the mouth. People see Afarajan as, the master of elections and all that. All because in the past, nobody has actually interrogated the outcome. Nobody has put the outcome of the election to test. And today, thanks to Nana Akufo-Addo, thanks to Bawumia, thanks to Jake, we have taken the election to the Supreme Court and look at the revelations that is being unveiled. It is because we have certain people that, parade themselves in the corridor of election as, gods or saints. Meanwhile, all that is facades. Because why would an electoral commissioner from 1982 or 1886 up to now conducted election? We all know that after the passage of time, anybody doing in whatever work, you actually, gain experience.
Yeah.
You gain expertise. You gain so many reputations. But here is the case: as the years pass by, the more irregularities that are uncovered in our elections.
Okay. Now, Baba Saidu, after the 2012 elections, we're told this is the most credible election that Ghana has ever had. This is the cleanest election we've ever had. This is the most peaceful election that we've ever had. Now that the Supreme Court case has rolled out, do you share the same sentiments?
Obviously, no. All of these people who made these pronouncements, to some extent, I won't blame them. Because clearly, these are machinations. If you are not careful, you won't see. Okay? Just by the virtue of observing what happened at the polling station, you would think that everything is fine. But if you take the pink sheet and you make a careful calculations, that is where you would see that indeed there is a master plan, there is an agenda that is being orchestrated. So obviously these people, for them, they don't know the nitty-gritty of what actually happened behind the scene. Okay? All they know is that, look, there wasn't any, there were no, if you like, killings at the polling stations like it's been done in other countries.
Those that attempted to smash ballot boxes were thoroughly beaten, though.
Okay. This I'm not too sure was too much.
It wasn't too much.
Yes. So for that reason, on the face of mere elections, you think that everything is okay. Look at the revelations that are coming up.
On the face
I'm sure these organizations that made these pronouncements will rescind their decision, would come back and say, look, we made a wrong pronouncement.
But even just allow me to just interrupt you and give listeners just a little bit of more of information. The NDC in their affidavits in answer to our petition actually did attach some observer missions and their reports. Now it's very interesting what those reports actually say. Yeah. For instance, take the report of Codeo. Codeo's report says within that document itself that report is for just one day of the election, which was December 7th. What happened on December 8th, they have no idea of, and that report that the NDC submitted to the court is not inclusive of anything that happened on December 8th. They also say that the total observer mission that they brought, in terms of percentages corresponding, actually gets to 0.0049% of the election. And so they cover just about 0.0049% of this election. And that is the evidence that the NDC could present to the court to say the elections were indeed free and fair. More interestingly was the issue of recommendations. One of the recommendations that came up was that results at the polling station should be displayed, which means that the source documents, the pink sheets, should be displayed for all of us to see. Now we are in court challenging these matters on the face of the pink sheet, and they say we have no case.
We have a case. Obviously, we have a case. For the first time in the history of English, that we have 27-0. What does that mean?
The Farijan numerical method?
27-0. I think that there's no any other word to describe it than what you have said. 27-0. that everybody was baffled. And these organizations, Kodio, what, all of these people, I'm sure clearly, when they see what is happening on the pink sheet, clearly, I'm sure by now they are talking to themselves. You see.
Okay, now let's get straight.
But just on the observers, you see, I mean, if somebody does not have a case, he will just scroll to anything just to make a case, because we all know that foreign observers are just casual observers. They do not go into the nitty-gritty of how ballot papers were printed and all manner of details. What they do is that they glance at casually and they see whether it's fairly fair. That is all. But for the NDC to descend to that, to use that one as part of their defense, actually beat my imagination. But going to Afarajan's own doings, as Addison put it to him, he was a chairman of a group that actually went to review Nigeria elections. And this man actually led in certain recommendations. And all these recommendations, you could see certain trend. And the trend actually looks like they were recommending to Ghana. Actually, it was like they were recommending, those recommendations was actually recommending for for the sake of our election. Because they were recommending that the board should change, they should change the electoral commission, they should do A, B, C, and D. They also said that they should publish even coalition results. Meanwhile, this is the same Afarajan that we requested certain coalition results and then he flatly refused, saying that it was not meant for us. Meanwhile, he said that for greater transparency, that election results must be made available to the foreign observers as well as to the agents. And what prevented Afarajan and his assigns to have made these results to all the polling agents of MPP, the polling agents of all the other political parties for greater transparency. So it is as if that what is good for somebody it cannot be good for Ghana and all that. That tells you that either his hands were tight, somebody actually grease his hands, it's possible, or he was sheer incompetence or completely negligence in or abnegating his duties. Okay. Because as an election, as a chairman of the Electoral Commission, it behoves on him to have lived above board, so that even if anybody comes with anything, you should have lived above board. But all this thing that is happening, it tells you that he actually knows what is good. He knows what is good, but he actually refused to do what would have been good for the good people of this country.
Okay, now let's delve into the big issue of the day. That is the matter of Ledger Kuku. I was astounded, I was shocked when I saw the position of the Electoral Commission being that we do not want this evidence tendered. I felt that what they should have done was, we deny this, it never happened, and gone ahead to defend their position. But rather, I was appalled when I saw that the defense of the Electoral Commission was that, even if it happened, you can't give evidence about this in court. Maybe I am living in the clouds, but I thought the normal person would think that their position implied that, yes, perhaps things could have happened, but you can't say it in court. Are we interested in the truth in Ghana, Baba?
Obviously, yes. Under the watch and leadership of the NPP, we would unravel the truth. And very soon, Ghanaians would come to believe in the NPP. What happened today concerning Ledger Kuku? For me, Nana, I wasn't surprised. I was not surprised at all, because I have the conviction that there's even more to come. We have seen serious padding of results, serious padding of results from that of Nana Akufo-Addo to John Mahama. Clearly. And surprisingly, they try to use technicality to kick this off. Nana, if you have a point, if indeed there was nothing of that sort, all they simply need to do is to bring out the collation sheets and prove to Ghanaians that, look, this is a fallacy. This never happened. But rather, they rather chose to say, look, it was not part of our affidavit, and so it was not part of our pleadings, and so we cannot bring it in. Prove to Ghanaians that there was nothing of that sort. By itself, we would be comfortable with that. But you don't bring technicalities. And believe me, we would prove with all those technicalities won't wash. It would never wash. And believe me, I am privy to some information that there are more of those things that is about to happen. What happened today is just a teaser. He wants to go and look at it. What prevents them from bringing the collation sheets? Why is he not bringing the collation sheets? This is a public document. This is a public document. It is supposed to be made available. Why is it not with us today? Because there is obviously something they are hiding from. And the truth will be unraveled. There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
Yeah, just on that same point, I think that from the beginning, or even getting to in the middle of the cross-examination, Chachukata got up and said that those pardon was not part of our pleading. We all know that if you look at
but I'm sorry, was he not the same person who came up to say that we had made those allegations and we had not provided proof? Now we are giving him proof and he's saying it's not part of our pleading?
Because from the very beginning, some of us had it. That if you look at the chapter 20 and 21, we had it. We mentioned certain areas, including Hawaii, including Tamale staff, including Lejokuku and some other areas. Very good.
Yeah.
We mentioned all these things and said that it was one of the reasons when we went to see the Electoral Commission and asked him not to declare the results because we had problems with such places. Now they are telling us that it was not part of our pleading. We have proved it, and then now they are telling us that Bawumia said we have abandoned it. Why did Bawumia say so? When the records of proceedings are available, why couldn't they have gone straight away and tell us exactly what Bawumia said on that day, that we have abandoned those things? Did that mean that we have come out with the new pleadings? Because Bawumia cannot just sit on the witness box and say that we have abandoned it, and that will then negate the pleadings. It cannot be so. So for him to come out to say those things, I think that tomorrow we'll see what happens. But like you said, I mean, if they have nothing to hide, if indeed, because before even this cross-examination, their communicators have been going around saying that, oh, what we took to Afarajan, we have even abandoned it, and now we are now fishing for something else and all that. Now the chicken has come home to roost. We have confronted them with the truth. We have confronted them with the facts, and they are now running away, holding, clutching for technicalities in order to, save their faces. I think that we will prove it. We will go all length to make sure that Ghanaians actually see the truth, and that the justices also see the truth and declare whoever the rightful winner of this election is. Because look, it will be disservice. NPP will be doing disservice to posterity, to the good people of Ghana, to the electorate who went and voted for whoever their candidate way. If we do not make sure that we take it as our sacred duty to ensure that fairness and justice is done in this election. And we've proven beyond every reasonable doubt that the election was actually rigged in favor of John Mahama. And they themselves have now come to the grim reality that what we have been saying all day, all year, is true. Because if you look at all the facts, from voting with a biometric verification, which is part of the law. In section 32, that the voter must go through biometric verification written in capital letters. Who, if you fail to do it, the law will have to be applied. We've seen multiple serial numbers. Why would Afarijan and these people go and then make sure that they printed more than what is required for the election?
Okay.
Why would they tell us that we have 204 to 1,000 overseas voting, when indeed we never had such a thing? When we asked them to present the evidence, up to now they have not been able to do so. And then somebody will still think somewhere. I think that now it has become, we have even the most obtuse or doubting Thomases have now come to the irrevocable conclusion that this election was actually rigged.
Okay. Now let's look at my issue of 419 rules. Were there 419 rules that were operated in this election? And I'm asking this for a reason. For instance, we're all told that no verification, no vote. There was actually a video to that effect that Dr. Kojo Afari-Gyan stood in front of Ghanaians and told us that, well, these are some of the things that we have agreed with all political parties. No verification, no vote, among a host of others. And then you smuggle in a clause in the instructions manual for presiding officers that they are allowed to use their discretion to allow some people to vote without verification. Is that not 419 plain?
Clearly, there's no any explanation than this. You come today, before we went to the elections, Dr. Afari-Gyan was very outspoken, very, very categorical on the issue of no verification, no vote. It's been played all over. I know a lot of people who has it as ringing tones.
I have that too, and we'll play it next week on Wednesday for you, I promise.
Okay, it is everywhere. Today you come and you tell us that. And he went beyond that and said, look, any police station or anybody who voted without verification, that police station will be cancelled. These are obvious. And today you come and you tell us that somebody, a Nana or something, would go because he's known in that community. You can allow him to vote.
I shouldn't have carried my voter ID card because
Can you imagine that? You see,
because
sometimes,
you are popular, you know.
sometimes I get surprised. Unfortunately, we are being governed by rules. And so for that matter, you cannot, if not, these are mind-boggling. You tell us that somebody would go there because he's known, he doesn't need to go through the process. So why do we then procure these machines? Why was it categorical? Why did we have to waste our time to go through all of these things? I mean, it's just unbelievable.
But
hold on. Let's put this into context, yes. All right? Let's also look at the polling stations that were actually cancelled. Mm-hmm. The defense of the Electoral Commission is that we were not aware that they were cancelled. I'm a bit confused by that because we all heard Dr. Kojo Afari-Gyan say, if these things happen, cancel the results. So why you not come to tell me it's illegal?
Exactly. You see, but that is why I have problem with even John Mahama himself. Because as a president who was sitting and presiding over everybody, including the Electoral Commission, your word speak volume. This is a man on the voting day actually guiding people on, the presiding officers on, to let people vote without going through the law, without going through biometric verification. And that was clear violation of the law. And this was a president, a certain president, actually violating the law and asking people to violate it. That is the reason why we have all these problems. If you look at even the law says that if we have problem with the machine, postpone the election to the next day.
And we actually did follow that.
And they even said that you have to continue to postpone it till 7 days. That's what the law says. So under what circumstances, under what reason can any sane person give to say that because the biometric machines were not functioning well, we decided to allow people and people that we know facially to vote? That was clear violation of the law. And we have all these things which have been pervasively, all over the place. And at the end of the day, if we sit down and say that, okay, let's leave it, what would posterity do to us? What the integrity of the election will be called to question. We have to uphold the integrity of this election because, look, it's about the future of this nation. All these things that happen, as I said earlier on, if we sit down aloof, what will happen? The outcome, I mean, the opportunity cost of what would happen will be grave. And that is what we want to prevent, so that Ghanaians will actually have their vote worth rather than what is happening. Because look, Afarijan is not a repository of knowledge. What happened is that, as he was even telling people that no verification, no vote, he was not saying it just because he has all powers to declare laws, because he himself was actually interpreting the law. That is what the law says. No biometric verification, no vote. And you see people come to, justify what verification is by trying to bring identification as part of verification. And some people saying that the CI do not have the powers of a constitution, just because if somebody is even 18 and sound mind, he can just go to vote and all that. Those things cannot wash and all that. I think that the Supreme Court is almost coming to the end of the hearing, and we hope that they will do what is just. Because look, if today they are unable to do what is just, or to declare or to administer justice, what will happen is that in future, somebody will say that if they rigged the election and I take it to Supreme Court, it will come to naught. So let me use different means to seek justice. And what would have happened to this great nation of ours? I think that it behoves on everybody, all of us, including the Supreme Court, the petitioners and the respondents, to ensure that we uphold the integrity of the process that we are going through.
Okay. Now, just so that you are reminded, in Lejokuku constituency today, what Dr. Philip Addison put forward was that John Dramani Mahama on the collation sheet had 53,710. The votes declared were 67,710. The votes added, therefore, were 14,000 votes. Nana Danko Akufo, the votes collated were 40,662. Votes declared were 30,650. Votes deducted, therefore, were 10,057. Between just these, the additions and the deductions, a margin of about 24,057 was created artificially. Now, this is just one constituency. Bear in mind the fact that John Dramani Mahama actually went over the 50% mark by just about 150,000 votes.
Yeah.
And so if you use one constituency to create a gap of 24,000 votes, what happened in all the rest? I'll take a break at this stage, and when we come back, you can join the discussion. Welcome back to the studios. You can join this discussion by calling 030-2211-701-224. 030-2211-701-224. We have already opened the WhatsApp line, and here are a few of your messages. Northern Governor says that may God also help us to continue to feed as more people as we can. Baba Saidu, he says hi to you. And then we have, please add your name sometimes when you send the messages. It's shocking that the returning officer, Dr. Kojo Afarijan, is swerving simple questions. Jake also says that the truth shall certainly come out. The battle is the Lord's. And then, may God let the truth prevail. We are really facing challenges in governance in this nation. God save us. From Kofi Boateng from UCC, Cape Coast. Caller from Takwa, how are you doing? Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You have the floor. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You have the floor.
Hello.
I don't think that you can hear me, and so we'll have to move on at this stage. When you call, please make sure that the volume on your set is okay so that we can also hear you and can have a very enlightening conversation. The number to call is 030-2211-701-324. 030-2211-701-324. 1760 all networks is the text line. Ernest from Obuasi, welcome. Hello, Ernest from Obuasi. Okay. Can you speak up a bit?
Please, how are you doing?
By His grace, Ernest.
I think we have interesting times ahead of us. Looking at the revelations that are coming from the Supreme Court case, we should brace ourselves, but we should be careful commenting on issues. I think with God on our side, things will be well.
Okay.
So let's pray for the judges too.
Thank you. Thank you too very much. Bismarck from Achimota, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm really shocked about what happened today at the court. Can you imagine a lot of overvoting at only the Caucus? It means that all the other parts, there was kind of overvoting each. So I'll be very, very glad if the court will take and go all the police stations and see. Maybe it will change the result.
Okay, thank you very much for that. But I believe what you meant by that was vote padding and vote deduction, not overvoting. Ernest, welcome. Hello, Ernest.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir. You have the floor.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah, good evening. William, Pastor, but me country kakra. Na me tension you.
You can.
The attorney said, the person may come and say, the attorney said, where they have access to go. Sane, the contempt in Zemno. Almost shadow view. That is say, yeah, no, you're present. Your comment said, you say you have got to hang it. That you will so. You will so cry, the judges maybe your pet. The judges lay and you cry, and you are almost shut, no more to do you may be in Kata. No more to mean cat, what I am like Yakata, French say, Yamza.
Okay.
Because, yes, Ghana for, yeah, possibly now, or PIS, yes, Sydney,
Okay, thank you very much for your call. I have David from Sunyani. David, how are you doing?
Hello?
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
Fine. How are you too?
It's by grace of God.
It's just one question I wanted to ask you. You know, today at the city, when the register came, African printed 2030 register. And then Addison brought 2012 register. So, that scenario, give me just gist of it. Because we are talking of 2012.
Okay.
And you can't bring 2030 register.
Okay.
Are you getting my point?
Yeah, I get your point. I think that I will make enough time to explain that at the end of this show. I have Baron. How are you doing, Senior?
I'm doing great. How are you too?
It is by the grace of God that we are alive.
Yeah, today I see that you are looking nice. I am praying that your eyes will go okay, that Now, what I want to say is that you see, right now, all the evidence are so clear. Last week, I tried to monitor them. If you want, they can be up to 6 days. So they call it for other issues which are so developed. So right now, they still have indeed they have to put that down. Like I'm telling you, Nana, if you to do something for the Sabaonia, they have to mount a monument for this great man of their great Lord for this man, which is God, that happens to the Lord.
The battle is the Lord indeed. I have a caller from Atebubu on the line. How are you doing? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, caller. Your name is...
Yeah, good evening, sir. I am Cranton Eric, member
Yes,
of the NTP competition team. I think one man constituency. Yeah, I thank you for your good work. I think you are really doing very nice work for the party. But one point is that I wish Mr. Hudson to dwell much on Mr. President's sometimes refusal to give him accurate answers to some of his questions. We are not happy because African is not being so straightforward in answering some of the questions. So he should also take his time and go according to the series of questions that he has African. Because I'm not happy about the way he answered some of the questions. Thank you.
Thank you too very much. I have Asha on the line. How are you doing, my brother?
Yeah, I'm doing very good. How are you too?
It's by the grace of God.
Yeah, I just wanted to say we should concentrate on how the economy is going now, which of course we all know the economy is broke. People are using different, they're just diverting every issue. Please, the Supreme Court case is taking the whole attention of it. The masses. Meanwhile, we are all suffering to get 3 square meals a day. Please, we want the economic team of the NPP to continue to oppose this government for everybody to know that they are not doing the best. Looking at how they are going to impose taxes on condoms and farm inputs. In fact, I see the TV set on my radio and I start crying because I'm a young man that I don't even have one bag of cement. So going this way, I think we have a long way to go. So.
Okay, thank you very much for your call. We'll take all that you have said into consideration. We have Keo from Akosombo. Keo, how are you?
Good evening, Nana.
By the grace of God.
Nana, and then we should see that I'm the Queen and the miracle. Hey, indeed, Mr. Koja project, or any Paboniza. On the wicked person, what will you Nana, Mama, and before one memory, Mummy, friend, could drink. Nana, Mama, young mom, papa. No, you too much of a rather, no need in prison, and then we said, president, I would do this one. Mother, which is the panel. Minimum can then find American. Mama, young mom, papa, I need to say, radio, or portion yet, I think, obey the Yatama, and I'm putting a million. Make me happy, so I'm good.
Thank you very much for your phone call as well. I have another caller on the line. How are you, my caller?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm Kojobocho, Master Kojobocho, aka political coach, your coach in Ghana politics. Master, lawyer, our lawyer, Addison, is doing great. Our great lawyers are doing very well, and we thank them. I'm calling from a man. I great doctor and now for me to do what you say.
Thank you. Thank you too very much. I believe that would be the last of the calls that we'll take because we'll have to also round up from the studios as well. You would believe with me when I tell you that it's a very difficult time that we live in as a country. I am particularly concerned about the prophecies that are beginning to come about. Dr. Mensa Otabel, among others, are continuing to prophesy. Saka, let's come to you briefly. How do you feel about those issues?
Yeah, I heard the prophecy. I think that Dr. Mensa Otabel is a man of God. He has shown it in the past. He has shown that his word actually come to pass. Fortunately, he says he's going to pray for Ghana and that there wouldn't be the heavy heart that he says he has. I mean, will become light-hearted and all that. I think is good, but that tells you that it all depends on the outcome of this case. If those who are supposed to, give us judgment, do not do it in a manner, that is how this heavy heart thing that he's talking about will come. But I hope. But you see, let me just end by this. If you look at it, I'm sure that it.
No, I'll come back to you for a wrap up. So let's, Baba said, on this matter of foreboding, heaviness of spirit, and some people anticipating that things may not go so well. How do you feel about that?
Ghana, we have men of God in our midst. These are people who can see in the future
and tell the mind of God.
Exactly. Okay. Look, clearly, the actions and the inactions of the Electoral Commission could have plunged this country into chaos had it not been the leaders we have.
Okay. And we pray that the good Lord...
In Liberia, do you know the number of people
who died and lost their lives?
Charles Taylor used only 100 people to start what happened in Liberia.
Okay.
But NPP chose not to go that way.
Okay. Now, we ask you as well that every night before you go to sleep, please lift your voice up to God, no matter the religion that you believe in, and say a prayer for Mother Ghana. We want peace, we want the progress of this country, and that is what must be paramount to all of us. We don't want a Ghana that is not peaceful. The New Patriotic Party continues to remain steadfastly committed to that basic principle of peace. And we assure all of you that we will do nothing to destroy the peace in this country. Now, somebody asked a question about the date of the register. One was 2012 and one was 2013. My little knowledge about PDFs is that it prevents you from making changes. However, sometimes you may be able to make a change using particular software. But when you do make a change, the document date is changed immediately to reflect the date of the change. So for instance, if I created a document 6 months ago, the date on that document will be the date 6 months ago. And I stored it in PDF. But if I continue to convert it from PDF to another document, make changes, and then change it again, the PDF document will then record the date on which I make the changes. I am not saying that that is what has happened. All I'm saying is that the normal procedure is that whenever you effect a change using a software on any PDF document, the date changes. That's the reality.
Yes.
Yeah, Nana, I just want to end by giving Ghanaians a food for thought. We all know that for people to know who actually won this election. Our analysis, I'm sure you know it, tells us that if you combine all the MPs vote together, the NDC MPs votes together, and you combine the MPP votes together and the NDC MPs votes together, the MPP parliamentarians has the largest. All the votes, not all the votes, we have the majority. But you see, your mama beat his MPs by 440,000.
Unexplained votes.
Nana beat his MPs by 36 votes. That tells you the difference. Because if you look at the history of this nation, there's some plus or minus, some
permutations that come into play
that do not
allow for such a gap.
For such a gap. 440,000 difference between your mama vote and that of his MPs is unheard of. It cannot be true.
And it's unexplained. We need to stress the point that 440,000 is unexplained. And then you need to look at the permutations and the combinations all over again, such that these 440,000 votes are not accounted for anywhere else in this election. If it was the case that more people voted for John Mahama than his MPs, those votes should reflect somewhere else within the parliamentary count. But it does not reflect anywhere else. Thank you very much, Sakasalia. Baba said to wrap up for me.
Yes. In my summation, what I would say is that all that is happening today, starting from day one to date, is a pre-conceived agenda. In the past, we're using teachers. Teachers are tried and tested and proven to be competent. Why did we choose to ignore them this time around? Because there is a planned program, okay? Don't be surprised that this Lejekuku thing was orchestrated by selected teachers. Those teachers that got the nod to be, to man police stations were NDC,
polling
NDC,
presiding officers. Presiding officers.
Okay. Because they were selected to carry out a planned agenda.
Okay. Unfortunately, my time is up.
And
so I have to say thank you very much to you, Baba Seidu, a member of the MPP communications team, and Mr. Sakasalia, also a member of the MPP communications team. My name is Nana Kofi Opondamo, and we continue to pray that the good Lord will continue to shower his blessings upon our peaceful country, Ghana. We of the NPP say that we will do nothing to harm the peace in this country. Can our opponents on the other side do the same to reduce the tension? Let's continue to pray. Let's continue to be sober. Let's continue to reflect and leave everything else in the hands of the Lord. Because for us, the battle remains the Lord's. Good morning.